la nostra università un ambiente calmo e tranquillo, fino a quando arrivano le elezioni studentesche. Allora lì è guerra, tutti contro tutti, per chi riuscirà a prevalere sull'altro. E qual è la nostra soluzione? Pochi secondi di tempo ciascuno e 2 temi da affrontare. Chi ne sarà vincitore? O forse meglio dire, chi sopravviverà alla gabbia dei leoni?
Hello, my name is Armando Miucci and I am an AFC student candidate for Astra for the Graduate School Council. Today I'm here to have my debate against Antonio, a former friend of mine, because actually still a friend because politics don't interfere with values within your life. And we're going to discuss about our ideas that we want to bring if we get elected.
Hi everyone, I'm Antonio. I'm a first-year master student as well. I'm doing CHEMS program, and I've been a former classmate of Armando. I'm very happy to be here because I joined Bocconi 4 years ago, and during these years I have really experienced the incredible potential of this university, but also all the contradictions that characterize Bocconi. And I'm here to change this and improve graduate students' life at Bocconi.
Okay, so now that you know us, let's talk about the stuff we want to bring to the graduate program. Because even though we're both students in graduate programs since not a lot of time, we're almost half of the way over path. So we're discussing with many older students and other students of our age. We've noticed some issues that regard the programs we're in. For example, in the second year, there are many people that have an internship which is mandatory by their study plan that cannot go to their classes, of course, because they work. Still, they happen to have the mandatory attendance with their optional courses. So something we wanted to implement is to remove this mandatory attendance for the courses that are not the mandatory of the study plans, but the ones that are the optional, so the ones that we choose, since students in many cases cannot, of course, both go to work and go to classes. Other things that regarded the programs were, for example, that sometimes in some programs we had the exams, we started the classes for some courses before exams of other subjects happened, like it happened in international management, as you may know, with some courses that already were following classes with professors, but nobody were going to these courses because people had to do other exams. Other stuff was into the introduction of a reading week, as they do in other competitive universities as Bocconi outside of Italy, so to give students the time to study, to introduce an opening to innovation, so to gather feedback from students and implement what is possible by asking to the Graduate School Council, and also introducing optional seminars in some cases.
Thank you, Armando. And for us, teaching, especially at the graduate level, really means personalization. Graduate students join a master because they want to get specialized, because we want to get more knowledge than what they got from their bachelor, and this is for something very important. But in order to give students the possibility to personalize their study plan, we need to be more flexible, to have more optional exams, more electives, not only starting from second years, but also probably starting from the second semester of the first year. We could have give students really the possibility to specialize in what they really like, in the sector they would like to work in, and also experience more subjects, more teaching methods, and more industries they would like to work in. And the second point would also be to be more flexible, as you mentioned. People do those internships, they do on exchange, and the crucial problem in order to give the possibility to students to be flexible is adding more exam sessions. Because during master we only have 3 exam sessions, while in the graduate we have 4. We now don't have any exam in July or late in June. And I think that would really help people that maybe start working in January. So they're doing a 6 months internship from January to June. Having an exam at the end of June or beginning of July could really help them be more flexible with the exam schedule, and also maybe get better grades because they don't have to study necessarily while studying. And I really would like to stress the importance of graduate students being very conscious and very intentional in what they're studying, because after 3 years spent studying on a more in a very strict schedule, they should really be helped personalize their study plan.
Well, Antonio, I cannot disagree on the fact that graduate students deserve having the chance to take their exams more than we do right now, because that would enhance personalization and help us follow our path, which is what Bocconi wants from us, to insert us in the workshop world and give us the chance to do that. But optionals for me during the first year are not something they could implement, as I started using the bonus to have more time, as each program has its own characteristics. So if you enroll for one program, then you should follow also what Bocconi recommends you to follow and go to that path. Still, you will have on the second year the chance to choose as many options as you want. Actually, it's up to 4, but I think it's enough to give personalization to your academic background. And still, optionals are not the only thing Bocconi offers students, because in order to personalize your competences, there are what are called as enhancing experiences. And that's another point of my campaign, of our campaign as Astra candidate, because we wanted to implement new enhancing experiences that involve corporate tools that can be used every day once you start having your job, so that they teach you to use Tableau, Salesforce, SAP, so that once you get employed, you're ready. And also, something that we would like to do is to put recordings not up to 48 hours after the classes if you work, but for all the week.
Thank you, Armando. I really appreciate your considerations on my points. I would really like to stress the fact regarding mandatory attendance and to have recorded classes for students that are having internships. I really think that's a good point. But honestly, what you just said about having them uploaded for a lot of days, I think it would really encourage people, even when they have the opportunity to go to class, even when maybe they're flexible with their work schedule, they wouldn't really go to class. And since Bocconi is really encouraging people to be present and meet people and really study the materials they are provided, this would not be a good idea. Yeah, this is a very important point, both on a personal level, but I think on a very general level of Bocconi. Bocconi students put a lot of effort in their studying, but also in extracurricular activities. Bocconi encourages every student to take on international experiences, both in terms of internships, but also in terms of exchange programs. And in the last few years, I've noticed personally that Bocconi has not been very transparent about this. Both regarding the admission to the masters, Bocconi doesn't ever publish any list of the people getting admitted in a master. They don't specify the criteria upon which people are selected for the master. There is a very discretionary component in the selection progress for, especially for the very selective courses, the ones that require also the curriculum or the video interviews. And for us, this is not really meritocratic and gives too many discretionary power to Bocconi administrative staff. And the second point about transparency would also be about the exchange program. As you might know, you are from AFC, and this year AFC has had many problems with the exchange programs, because Bocconi again uses its discretionary power and to not be very transparent, in this case about the coefficients used to calculate the score. And many people from your course, they were actually the one that really suffered what they called a punitive coefficient for calculating the exchange score, because people that got for example, and just an example, a very high GPA and for full points at the during the undergraduate program, they had a lower score than people from other courses, which is also my course, international management. So I'm talking against my own interests, because they were surpassed because they had a higher coefficient, and this is really not fair. And about transparency, I would also like to make another point, and put the burden also on us as representatives, which is something that other representatives from previous year from graduate school haven't done, which is involve people that are class and course representatives. You said we are halfway through our program. It's been 1 year, and the representatives, they were in the graduate school, didn't even contact once course representatives, not from finance, not from CHAMS, not from EM. They never even created a group chat where people could discuss, make proposals. So my proposal would be having an informal group of people, especially class representatives and course representatives, that could talk about the proposal before bringing them into the organ meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio, for making everybody notice this issue, because it's something that I really thought deeply about. But if you wanted to, like, a WhatsApp group with all the course representatives of the main students would be a really nice idea, even though that would be something that would still be discretionary on the students to bring their issues up to the graduate school representatives, which is something that is being done already, and we will keep doing, of course. But if you wanted to establish a formal organ, then it would be more appropriate, not for our council to propose that, but for the CDA, hopefully Camilla. And that would be a totally other organ, something called maybe student council, in which among the representatives you could elect some students to be part of this council, and then you will have the formality and even the bargaining power to bring those issues forward. As of transparency, I was a victim of transparency of the university myself, somehow. But yeah, I still agree on the university that they don't have to disclose everything we want them to disclose, because they still have to fill up with some topics which are the rankings, and they have to make decisions that not always will be approved by the vast majority. Yes, the question out.
So you think rankings and the Bocconi image is better, is more important than students' needs and students' expectations on transparency and
No,
quality of the programs?
I don't think so, but I think that the rankings and the reputation of a school reflects what students learn and what they do after graduation. So that's why my point was about improving the teaching methods and tools. While meritocracy is something that actually Bocconi really wants to bring forward, and the multiplicator thing you mentioned is something that is made just to do that, because when people in a course have on average a GPA, then you balance the class GPA with the other classes GPA, so that every person has the same chances. Actually, in the undergraduate programs, people complain that they don't have this. So why would you remove it from here?
Thank you, Armando, for your proposal. Even I couldn't really see many. But honestly, I would like to point out two things. The first one is that bachelor programs have coefficients. There are some courses that have slightly higher coefficients than others. For example, BI has one. But just to replicate to your point, the not a formal organ, but it's involving students, having students feel heard and that they count, that they are important to the university and to us as representatives. And another point I would really like to make is we do have bargaining power. The fact is we don't leverage our power because we are too remissive on Bocconi organ's decisions for what we have to do.
But you know that I was in your course in the undergraduate program. We didn't have a multiplicator in our case. And I heard people complaining, this course is easier, we should be advantaged. So that's why I brought the point forward. Then with a very specific program with BI, of course, they have to be taken care of separately. While for the other things you said, I think that we do have our bargaining power, yes, but For now, we're not entitled of bringing forward our ideas. But trust me that if I ever get elected, I will never shut up when somebody tells me that my idea is not doable because of policy, internal policies, and transparency issues. Even if we fight